Amanda Lemos versus Mizuki Inoue. Amanda Lemos, she's Brazilian. She's 7-1-1. She's 33 years old. She's 5 feet 4 inches tall, and she's 1-1 in the UFC. Most recently, she submitted Amanda Granger at 115 pounds in the first round. She choked her out cold. And the choke that she had was kind of weird. It was like a modified rear naked choke. She was kind of off to the side a little bit.
Yeah, so, it was credited as a rear naked, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of just like a modified rear naked choke. Submitted her in the first round. I really didn't think that she was going to win that fight, but she dominated from the beginning on that one. But she's going against Mizuki Inoue from Japan. She's 14-4, and also 11-2 in kickboxing. She's 26 years old. She's 5 feet 3 inches tall. She's 1-0 in the UFC, coming off of a split decision win over Yanan Wu. Mm-hmm. What do you think about these girls?
Well, I'm super excited to watch Inoue. Her fights are very fun to watch. She's highly active. She's quick. She's fast. Has a never-ending gas tank. She just doesn't stop. You know, she's a black belt in karate. You talked about her pro kickboxing record. Mm-hmm. She also fought in shoot boxing. So, dude, the girl's been everywhere in terms of the stand-up.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny as we say that, though, we talk about her stand-up credentials, right? She has 9 submission wins to her record. That's insane.
Yep.
Right? And she has no knockouts.
I know.
So 9 submission wins, no knockouts for a girl whose entire career is based around striking.
Yeah. And she's got 5 decision.
Phenomenal.
5 decision wins. Both of her, or 3 of her losses, all 3 of them have come by decision. Mm-hmm. One of them was a split decision loss. So, you know, she's never been finished either. She got into MMA, like you were talking about, from the striking background. It was actually her karate coach who convinced her to get into MMA. So she started doing MMA after she had her black belt in karate, and her coach was saying, hey, you should go do this. Eventually, she got picked up by Deep, where she competed, and she was age 16 when she started competing as a pro. She won the Deep Jewels tournament. She won that one at age 16. She was one of the youngest women's champions ever as a professional. And then she later fought for the Deep World title. She missed weight, and they still had the fight go on. But the way that they did it is they do 2 yellow. They penalized her 2 yellow cards because she missed weight. Mm-hmm. She goes out there, fights that fight. She actually submits her opponent. The opponent's name is Emi Tamimatsu. She submitted her, and then was disqualified for missing weight.
Yeah, really weird.
Then disqualified. So she fought and won the fight, and then it goes on her record as a loss. So if you look at her record on that, it should only be 14-3.
Yeah, I don't understand how you're gonna disqualify someone for missing weight, but still allow them to fight.
Yeah,
like that makes no sense to me.
But to Mizuki Inoue's credit, she didn't let that phase her. She came back in her next fight. She fought the same girl and submitted her again.
Yep.
So this time she sealed the deal, took the belt. That was hers, and you know what? That's the story on that. After that, she went on to Invicta.
Yep, and now she's fighting Lemos.
Yeah.
And with Lemos, she's got some pop in her punches, man. She has some pretty strong punches there. Yep. And actually, she's really strong overall for a strawweight. 115-pound girl with a lot of strength, dude. She has really powerful leg kicks, and from what I've seen in some of her other videos, she looks like she has a pretty solid ground game too. Yeah, well, in that fight against Leslie Smith, I don't take any credit away from her for losing that fight. So she lost that debut to Leslie Smith. 1, it was on short notice. 2, she was fighting at 135 pounds. And this fight now is a 115-pound fight. She was fighting at 135 and 125 pounds before getting into the UFC, but you could look at her body in the Leslie Smith fight. So much smaller. She was smaller all the way around, and she seemed to be carrying a little bit more fat than Leslie Smith did. Mm-hmm. They get her into the PI. They start working with her on nutrition, which is one of the things I love that the UFC is doing with their Performance Institute. They're really teaching these guys a lot about nutrition and how to get their body weight down safely without really killing themselves. So, they get her into the PI, they start getting her looking good, and now she's fighting at, not necessarily looking good, but getting her body into peak physical shape. Right. And now they can get her to compete at 115 pounds. Yeah. 20 pounds less than what she made her debut at. Yeah. Now, that's a little bit different than, say, going from 185 to 205. and she's going to be extremely strong still.
Yeah, and she's going to be extremely strong.
Now, my only thing with her is she will not be able to outlast Inoue in an endurance competition. So if her gas tank isn't up to par at 115 pounds, Inoue is just going to have a field day with her.
Yeah, Inoue is constant movement, in and out, lots of striking, back and forth. It's not really, when I saw Inoue, you have that karate style where she really is popping back and forth. It's not a ton of, I'm going to circle to set you up. And yeah, she does circle, but as far as when she strikes, she's not really trying to get you to move in, to counter out of the way and hit you. She wants to stand in front of you, step in, hit you, step back in, hit you, step back out, and kind of mix in different strikes like that.
Yeah. So for me, I think Inoue is going to have the speed advantage here. She has the experience advantage. I just have her winning a decision here. I don't know that she's going to be able to finish Lemos. She might if she gets it to the ground. I really don't know Lemos's ground game too well. We haven't really seen her too much at strawweight, so we're going to find out though. But I still think Inoue wins the decision.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that that's a bad thing there. I am really excited to see what happens here. Though when we look at Lemos now because her last fight she dominated. Mm-hmm. That was her first fight back from a 2-year suspension. She was suspended 2 years. She tested positive for a steroid, and they submitted her, and that was after the fight with Leslie Smith, and that was on her debut. She accepted it. She took the 2-year suspension, came back. She's down at 35 instead of or she's down at 15 instead of 35. And she was already fast before that. She had 5 knockouts, and she had 2 submission wins before that. 2 submission wins doesn't necessarily mean that you're a submission person, but you could rock people and then catch them in something. Yeah. People make mistakes, you catch them, whatever. But she moves really well on her feet. I like the way that she strikes. She is very strong, like you said. She did destroy Amanda Granger. She wrecked her, and I thought that was...
And actually submitted her.
Yeah. She submitted her. It was a great fight for her. This one, I'm really excited to see what she does because, like we were talking about with Inoue's very experienced. Yep. And not only that, she's also training at Sarah Longo's now. So she's getting that grappling. She's getting everything in that she needs. She's doing the same thing we were talking about with the other fighters earlier.
Sparring with Aljamain Sterling. They actually posted a picture of that,
Sparring with Aljamain Sterling, getting out and getting the extra experience and not just staying tied into your little bubble, Yep. You got to get that experience. She does have a first-round submission over Alex Chambers, though. Mm-hmm. So that was an Invicta where she went, that was an Invicta where she went 3-4. She did pretty good there. She has 9 submissions overall, the 5 decisions. Only losses, like we said, are all decision losses. Overall, though, I got Mizuki Inoue winning by decision as well.